festival earlier today, am I right? So they're like working around the clock here with their voices. So we really, really thank them for giving up the time to be here and performing with us. It's a very special piece. I also want to acknowledge my amazing colleague, Mr. Bill Leather. He is so awesome and is a big part of the reason why the music sounds so
All right, before we conclude tonight, I want to thank you all for coming again. I do want to take a moment. If you are a veteran or somebody who has served in our military, and if you're able to stand, I would love to have you stand so we can recognize you for being here tonight. I know my father is here. He was in the United States Naval Academy and Navy after that for 8 years. And anybody else who's able to stand, can we recognize you real quick? Hope you enjoyed the program that we put together. This last piece is going to be amazing, and we had a chance to perform it at our Veterans Day Assembly a couple weeks ago. We also did a retreat together a couple weeks ago, which was awesome. I got to perform it there, so we're really looking forward to it. Before we play the last piece, I just want to remind people that if you have Butter Bread orders, make sure you get those on your way out. I also have something to read. When I started researching some pieces that were possible to do for this final performance, I knew I wanted to do a collaboration with the choir because it's always awesome. We have an amazing choir program and amazing choir teachers that make the choir sound incredible. So I knew I wanted to do a piece, and we started researching some things, and I had never conducted Battle Hymn of the Republic before, and it's a really famous piece. It's been performed thousands upon thousands of times all across the world. But I started to do some research and came across this really interesting story and some things that go along with it. So I just want to read a quick excerpt of something before we perform the piece. On April 3rd, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. rose to speak in support of striking sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee. He said, "I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land," King announced. "And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man." And then he closed in his lyrical voice, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord," which is the opening line to Battle Hymn of the Republic. The next day, the very next day, he died lying on the second floor of the Lorraine Motel, struck in the cheek by an assassin's bullet. That last line, as I said, that King ever spoke in public, was from the Battle Hymn of the Republic, written by Julia Ward Howe in 1861. It was a fitting finale to the life of a great American because the story of the Battle Hymn is the story of the United States. The song, now approaching its 160th anniversary, very close, a couple years away from that, is a hallowed treasure and a second national anthem. We have turned to it repeatedly in national crises. The Battle Hymn has inspired suffragists and labor organizers, civil rights leaders, and novelists like John Steinbeck in The Grapes of Wrath. But most of all, the Battle Hymn is a warrior's cry and a call to arms. It is a vivid portrait of sacred violence, captures how Americans fight wars from the Minier balls of the Civil War to the shock and awe of Iraq. We really hope that you enjoy our performance of the Battle Hymn of the Republic featuring our wonderful Camerata Choir, and we also have a harpist, Amelia Moulton from the orchestra, that's going to join us as well. Okay, we're gonna check the mics real quick.